Hello, and welcome to Leadership Trail Mix. After a few reflections, flying solo, I have a guest today. How cool is that? So, Scott Cochrane and I met last year, and the connection was quite immediate, actually. Whenever we meet, we just spend a lot of time talking about analogies and people leadership, and I couldn't think of a best guest for our podcast today. Scott is a growth acceleration advisor and the CEO and founder of Bold Mind X. He's also the author of two books, Time Machine Leadership, How to Lead from the Future for Sustainable Success, and Your Creative Mind, How to Disrupt Your Thinking, Abandon Your Comfort Zone, and Develop Bold New Strategies. I met him as a coach who, according to his own words, combining executive leadership, psychology, and neuroscience, works to disrupt people's thinking and transform bold ideas into tangible plans. So, Scott, welcome to Leadership Trail Mix.
Miguel, I'm so glad to be here. I've been looking forward to this for the last 2 weeks since we planned it.
Yeah, that's awesome. The last time we spoke, we were talking about, I honestly don't even know how we ended up there, but you asked me why leaves fall from the trees. And I stopped, I thought for a minute, and I remember saying, it's probably to survive and manage their energy through the winter, right? And we came up with this idea of BeLeafs and how we sometimes have to let go of some of our beliefs to also be able to survive. Yeah. Can we expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and I love the metaphorical approach to things. And leaves falling off of trees is a really, really interesting sort of thing. Many people think they do it because it gets cold, the leaf dries out, and of course it falls off, I mean, logical, right? In fact, it doesn't work that way. In fact, what happens is the tree is smart enough to notice that it's receiving less light from the tilt of the earth and the sun, and they go through a hormonal change process where they stop sending certain hormones to the leaves, and they have the leaf kind of stop receiving those hormones, that sort of thing, so it does get dry. And as it dries out, what they do is extract the nutrients from the leaf to pull it back into the tree. So they do things on purpose before it's even too cold for the leaf to fall off. They're getting ready. And you're right, they do it to conserve energy. They do it to prepare for other things to come. They do it to basically just make themselves stronger. But there is this hormonal cellular change. It's quite an intelligent process in the tree. They do it on purpose. They decide to. And we don't think that about trees too much. But there's this process in the winter that the tree wouldn't do well with the leaves. Leaves require a lot of sunlight. They require a lot of moisture. They require all these sorts of things. So being willing to let those go and get prepared for that next spring season, even stronger and more nutritious than ever, is super important. But it's not a response to, hey, it's too cold, my leaf just froze.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, things are changing and I need to let some things go to make myself stronger. And I don't remember why the conversation started also, but where it took us towards was this whole thing on beliefs, which we could kind of say sounds like BeLeafs.
Yeah.
No? And you got to love that, but it does have to do with life as well. As we go through life, we want to pay attention because changes come, and we want to have this anticipatory mindset that we can look ahead, see what's coming. Hey, the days are getting shorter, the earth is tilting in a different direction. What is it that maybe I need to let go of? And that's easy, I don't know, Miguel, so many people, you say that, or they'll think about that, and they think about things they need to let go of.
True.
And it's not so many times. Much more often, it's not the things, it's the beliefs. Because we have certain beliefs that take us through the summer, through the good times. And we have other beliefs that prepare us for other times and prepare us for those tough times. It might seem like tough times, and many times they're just inception points in life that we need to pay attention to because they're going to take us to a better place. And that, what I just told you, that inception period, that what feels like a difficult time, is there on purpose to take us to a better place. That's a belief.
That's a belief.
What I just expressed to you is an example of a kind of a global belief. It's a belief about the world, about how things work. And we have different kinds of beliefs. We have beliefs about the world like that. We have beliefs about others, and we have beliefs about ourselves.
So true. One thing that I didn't think then, but I'm thinking now, is that we tend to look at the tree and see the tree as a victim to something that is happening to them versus something that is happening for them. Right?
Yeah, and that they're deciding to do on purpose.
Exactly.
I think it's just amazing.
It's really,
you got to love nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so you got to, we need to talk to the trees more, Miguel. I don't know. There's,
I agree.
Gain some insights.
Yeah, we need to talk to them, hug them, do something to them. Going a little bit deeper, and still probably to when we first met, Scott, I can't help but think about the power of beliefs and think about the analogies that we keep discussing. And I remember we were talking about the ski analogy. And I can't think of skis now without thinking about trees. So I feel like the two pieces are somewhat coming together.
Yeah.
Do you mind talking a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm happy to. I grew up skiing. I grew up in the Midwest, mostly managing ice on relatively small hills, but I was learning to ski. And I think I started when I was 10 years old or something like that. But I always skied in places either in the Midwest, sometimes in the West, not too much. And then I spent a lot of time in Europe and skied slopes there. I never skied trees. It was like all the slopes were these perfect slopes, manicured, and I learned to ski quite well on that. And then this was like 9 years ago, I moved to Colorado. And I don't know if you've skied in Colorado, but when you ski in Colorado, you can stay on the nicely groomed runs, or you can jump off into the trees. And I saw these people jumping off into the trees, and they're like all smiles, like, yeah, let's go to the trees, let's go to the trees. So I finally kind of said, you know what, I'm gonna go to the trees. So I jumped into the trees, and I'm skiing, and I'm like hugging trees all over the place, man. And the trees don't hug back very warmly.
Oh wow!
Yeah. They're kind of tough on the hug. And I was just super frustrated because there's little kids this tall, they're zooming by me, and they're not hugging trees. They're like choom, 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 choom. So finally, I said, that's enough of that. I'm going to hire an instructor.
Yeah.
So this instructor came out with me, and she was wonderful. She'd been skiing all of her life as well. And we got in the middle of the trees, and she looked at me and she said, so what are you looking at when you ski through the trees? And I'm like going, are you kidding me? I mean, I'm looking at the trees, like I like to know where they're at.
Absolutely.
I'm looking at the trees. And she was like, actually, that's the problem. I'm like, what? That's the problem? She says, yeah. You see, we go towards what we look at. And I'm going, yeah, I know that. Interesting. Just look between the trees.
Wow,
that's amazing. So what she trained me to do, it was like an hour, trained me to see the line between the trees and not look at the trees. Magic.
Never again.
And that was it. That was it. And if you think about that, it's so true in life. And it's again based on some beliefs. I believe I need to really keep a close eye on the obstacles. I really need to look closely and worry about what's going to happen that could be wrong, because I don't want that to happen. And you know what? We take ourselves directly to it.
That's so true.
So changing that belief of what we need to be focusing on. The fact is, just by focusing on something affects our beliefs about what can happen. That belief about this could happen becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. And our mind believes it, and we react to it. It starts to be what we pay attention to, and we find all the evidence why it's probably true and everything else. So yeah, it's very belief-based.
Yeah, I love that analogy. And that leads me to a question on something that we've never discussed before, which is, I see people out there saying that you should focus on your strengths, and the tide is just going to bring all the boats up. Others believe that you need to focus on both your strengths and your development opportunities. Others believe that your natural strengths will always be with you, focus on your development needs. Thinking about that in the analogy of the tree, what is your take on that?
Have you ever had a dog?
No, I've never had a dog.
Puppy or anything?
No.
Okay. For those people who have a dog, they'll understand this really, really easily, and you'll get it easily as well. When you train a puppy, how do you think that puppy would turn out if you only called it out for doing something wrong? no, bad boy,
Yeah.
don't do that. The only comments. I mean, within a relatively short period of time, when you got home, you think that puppy would run up and greet you?
Nope.
It's going to be hiding in the corner,
Yep.
probably under the table or something. You
Mm-hmm.
know? One of the rules we follow with raising a puppy is there has to be at least 5 yes good boys to every correction, to every no.
Okay.
At least that ratio.
Wow.
Now, let's think about our teams.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a ratio are we running with our teams? How many times are we catching them doing something right? We get so busy, sometimes we only catch them doing something wrong. Where I'm going to this with your question, what do we have to pay attention to? I think mostly we have to pay attention to catching people doing something right and catching ourselves doing something right, bringing it to awareness so we repeat it and we learn something from the value of doing that thing right, but not ignoring areas of improvement. They can't be ignored. I think it should be a 5-to-1 ratio. Personally, I'll base it on the puppy theory. So yeah,
that makes a lot
puppy
of sense
theory.
to me. Yeah,
puppy theory.
Yeah,
Keep
and
it simple.
I think we can go anywhere with this, but I really feel like you just gave us our call to action for today. So catch people doing something right is the right approach.
Absolutely.
Right?
Focus on catching people doing something right and tell them about it. And it's not, hey, good job. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
But if I were to change that to telling you what it was that you did right, what the advantage of that was, and what the greater benefit that it brings is, then it's different.
Yeah.
So that's more like, hey, Miguel, really love the work that you did in that last podcast with those messages you sent out. I mean, that just listening to it gives our group the advantage of being able to know what to do in specific moments when that opportunity arises, giving us the benefit to accelerate our growth to places that we haven't been before.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
That's a lot better than good job.
Does that feel better than good job?
It does feel a lot better than good job.
And I've told you what you did right,
why
it's important, and the bigger benefit. And sometimes we forget and we leave out that greater benefit, but that's the so what. And that's what makes it meaningful to people. So catch people doing something right. Tell them what it is with what it was. What are the advantages of it? And what's the greater benefit?
I love that, Scott. Thank you. Thank you for being the first guest for Leadership Trail Mix. And for those watching us, thank you for listening. And if you know someone that could benefit from this reflection, please feel free to share. And we'll talk soon. Take care.